Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be something that we did a year and a half ago, and it's finally done now. Our 64 Dodge Superstock Johan model turned back into street stock. Now, I don't know how many people have ever done this before, but this was a first attempt at creating an exact copy in 1/124th scale of the Polara. And order to do that, we had to make sure that we had all the details right. And if you saw the earlier video with the NASCAR super stock Polara, well, this is my best attempt at trying to do a copy of the Farah. Now, the thing is that I've always built models to, when you're a kid and you're building models, you're always building them to be like what you want them to be. But when you own the car and you build a model to replicate that car, I think that's a pretty fun thing to do. And it took quite a bit of time to get this done. There was a lot of stuff that I had to buy that doesn't come in the super stock kit. And in order to make this pretty much exactly the way we could make it, I mean, as every detail that I could throw at it that within eyeballs range you could see, other than some stuff you couldn't see, was I threw my best attempt at it,
and you did a fantastic job.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. I think it's the world's finest 64 Johan super stock model to go back to stock again. But well, let's get to the party since you guys have been waiting for this a long time. I think we're going to start with the stance of the car. Now, when you buy this kit, it comes with these little plastic squares that have holes drilled in it. How's that for stance scale? Do I need to turn it anymore?
Come a little bit more towards me.
How's that?
There you go. That's
all right.
Better.
So you guys know what stance is all about. If you look at the super stock kit, the car is set up like a gasser style, and I don't know if I'm assuming that's because they want to throw all the power to the back wheels and try to get it to hook up. But of course, if you're building a copy of your car, Farah is not a super stock model; it's a street car. So I had to I guess when I started building the car in white, before I did any work to it, my first job was to get the axles together, get the wheels sort of installed just so they would, hang in there, and then set the level with those little square pieces. And then they're like a little adjustment holes. You can run the axle through it and then set it to where you want it. So I think I got that pretty good as far as getting the way the car sits naturally compared to the super stock model. Now, one of the neat things about it is that the early kits had these steel axles, and they didn't come in this kit. So I guess they cheapened out, and instead of giving you steel axles, they gave you plastic ones, which I didn't want to use because they suck personally.
They do.
Yeah, and it just, the car didn't roll, and I wanted the car to roll. So, in the process of using steel axles on the back, you pretty much can get away with it. But on the front, unfortunately, it goes right through the middle of the engine block. Now, I don't know if you guys have built models where you were doing this, but it was kind of a sin to have to drill a hole through the engine block to get the axle to go through it so that the car would roll. And I'm not super happy about having to do that, but you have to do it because that's what you got to do. It's just part of the play.
That's right.
While we're at stance, Farah has Magnum 500 wheels, so they don't come in the super stock kits. So the only thing you can do is you can either buy a Charger model, which there are some Charger models out there that have Magnum 500s. Some of them have white letter tires that aren't painted. Some of them are red line tires, and since Farah has her white letter tires, I couldn't. I don't know. I wasn't justified in buying a whole model just for the wheels, because as you know, I had to buy a whole model just to get the console to make this, work, because the super stock is a 4-speed and we have an automatic floor console shift. So I was like, no, I'm not buying 2 models. I'm just going to buy 1 model and look for the wheels. And just by luck, I found a guy on eBay. Because on eBay, there are guys selling model car parts just like there's real models. It's just
quite
like
a business.
Just everything you could think of. And I'm like, well, I'm going to have to not buying a model for the engine, and I'm not buying a model for the wheels, and I'm not buying a model for the console. I mean, when do you stop? But that's the thing. You commit to it.
You want
You
it to
have
be the
to,
best.
well, you have to find all those things. And
That's right.
one of the fun things along the way, because it took a while to gather all the parts for this thing, was to find the tires. And I found a supplier that sold the tires that, and they were like screen printed the lettering of the old Goodyear Polyglass 60s. So that was exciting to be able to find those and to use them. But once we got pretty much the wheels, and the stance correct, I was happy with that. I had partially started building the engine and had to drill a hole so I could get everything set up right in the engine compartment. And we'll get to that in a minute. But finishing up on the Magnums, like, they don't come with the inserts painted black. So that was quite a lot of time to mix up some flat black and to thin it and to go in there with a detail brush and to pull that off. It was 2 coats and it was just, I think I've got like 30 hours of time in this thing.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's at least 30 hours of time to build this thing. So, okay, so we were at the stance. We pretty much got that covered, and that looks pretty correct. Like, the car sits correctly. It looks like it
does.
right
It
where
good.
it needs to be.
Yes.
And so give us a point for that one. So let's go to the engine, since the engine's a big factor. The super stock car comes with a 426 Hemi. Farah does not have a 426 Hemi. If it did, we probably wouldn't own it because no one was ever going to let that car go, with that engine in it if it was equipped. It was not at the time. I think the Hemi was for NASCAR and for super stock racing, but I think the Street Wedge might have been a car for the drag racing, but I'm not really sure on that. But from what I can gather, it looks like the introduction for the Hemi was in '64. So we had to find a 383, and now we have to go find a model that has a 383. Well, fortunately, there are some models. I think the red 330 model kit, I don't remember who makes it, but it comes with a 383, and that's fantastic. So I had to find a guy that was willing to sell a 383 with the correct log manifolds.
And you did.
I think I could stop it there, and you can probably have a look at the engine, and we'll talk about the engine now. So I just got lucky. I ended up finding a guy that had the correct engine and the correct log manifolds, and that really makes a difference. And when you see the NASCAR version of it or the super stock, it's a pretty big engine, but the 383 is not nearly as large, I guess, because of the cylinder heads. But I had to go, and I had to have those right things. And since if you've seen the pictures, we'll be dropping all kinds of pictures this video. The engine, really much all the original turquoise paint that was on it is all pretty much faded away and gone. There is some spots on the engine that have some turquoise left, and I had to mix up some paint just to match whatever paint was left, which is, I think, what's left of it's what's around the oil breather on the passenger or the driver's side, and the PVC on the passenger side valve cover was painted a little bit of turquoise there, and that was it. But it had to have the correct engine, and red oxide primer is a really good thing for that because it allows it to look like rust, because that's what we got.
Right.
I ended up mixing a little bit of different color brown for the manifolds because everything's so rusty and old looking. You got to replicate that some way.
Right. So
that was fun to build that. And the other thing too is that the air cleaner was for a 4-barrel. Now Farah has a 2-barrel, so the car had a 4-barrel, so now you need a 2-barrel carburetor, which doesn't exist in this world. But you have to mount the air cleaner onto something. So I'll give it a little spin around here. We can look at the air cleaner. The air cleaner was fun because I had to take a 4-barrel air cleaner, and I had to make a snorkel from a piece of the model, the skeleton, the extra model pieces that you get when you cut all the pieces out of the model. There's always that framework that's left over. So I decided to drill a hole in the air cleaner and then put the snorkel in my lathe and cut out a snorkel for it so that it looked like the correct air cleaner, which I think I nailed that pretty good.
Oh yeah, totally.
And the other fun thing is the 65 Belvedere model I bought for the console. It came with a decal kit, and it had the oil sticker for the air cleaner. And I ended up that was kind of fun and luck at the same time. I just discovered that later on, but I ended up having to put the oil filter sticker on the darn air cleaner crooked because in the factory, that's what they did. They didn't make it straight. And on Farah, her sticker is not straight, so I had to go with that. But while we're in the engine compartment, I also did the stickers for the cooling system and the battery. And I mean, I had some yellow and I thinned it out and I was like, all right, we can make this work. Let's do that and really get the details right. Let's get the battery right. Let's just go for it all. Now I was
Right.
like, I'm all
Go
in
big or
now.
go home.
Well, now I'm all in. Now I'm like, okay, so I was able to draw the letters really tiny. I just made some dots on the stickers to look like there was some on there. But yeah, that was a lot of fun to do that. I didn't get super crazy with putting wire set on it. That was just there's some lines I'm just only going to go so far. I think it keeps it neat, and most of the time the hood's closed anyway, so you don't see it. And I think we've got enough details covered on the engine to really make it look authentic.
Yeah.
One other note on the engine is that in real life, the K member for a Hemi and a big block are different. And wouldn't you know it, the damn this K member in this super stock kit is for a Hemi. So when I put the engine in the car, the motor mounts don't line up correctly because it's a different engine. So I thought that was cute.
Mm-hmm.
So the engine pretty much is the transmission mount and the axle that goes through the engine block had to be enough to hold it in there because I wasn't going to make custom engine mounts and then glue the engine to the chassis of the K member. It wasn't happening.
Right.
It doesn't get played with. It doesn't roll.
No.
The engine's
It's
happy.
not a toy.
The engine's happy just sitting there on the axle, and it's not going to go anywhere. It doesn't move around because I don't drive it anywhere. If I want to drive it, I got the real one in the garage.
Right.
So yeah, that's fun. So let's see, where can I go next here? Let's do the exhaust system.
Okay.
The exhaust system on Farah, I had the duals put out the back bumper because I thought that was a lot cooler looking. And in order to make that correct, I had to use the same thing I used for the air cleaner. I ended up cutting some plastic pieces and putting them in my watch lathe and cutting them down so that the pipes were the right diameter. And I had to drill a small hole in the end of the pipe itself, so it looks like it's got carbon buildup in it because it does huff some carbon.
It does. Yep.
It huffs some carbon, but then glued them underneath the chassis of the car and cut the right length so that they are sticking out and they look really awesome.
Oh, they look fantastic.
The actual exhaust system was supposed to point down from the factory. Farah was a 383 base engine. She wasn't a hypo version. So originally she only had single exhaust, whereas now it has dual exhaust. That's really the only modification I made to the whole car. Everything on the Polara is bone stock. There's no mods, there's no cam, there's no 4-barrel, nothing is upgraded. We wanted to keep it I wanted to have as close to original driving experience, other than some modern radial tires, which makes a humongous difference the way the car drives. I don't know how everybody did it back when those wheels were like 6 inches or 5 1/4 inch wide magnums. Like if you looked at the tires on those cars back then, they were like thinner than motorcycle. And
yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that.
Well, people always complain, oh, the cars don't handle very good. Well, you're trying to throw a car around with no sway bars and tires that skinny. I mean, what do you expect?
Right.
Plus people always complain about that, but more than likely the people that were driving those cars were already worn out anyway. So in defense of an old car, it drives really nicely. I don't go fast around corners to body roll it. So, if you're in that big of a hurry, get out of town because it's just not.
Right.
They are what they are, and I'm not going to make any excuses for it, but slow down, put modern tires on it. We did look at prices of getting those Goodyear, polyglass 60s because we thought they'd be cool, but to get a set of those is like $1,600, $1,700. And there's no way I'm driving around because we put a lot of miles in this thing. There's no way I'm driving it around with freaking bias ply tires, even though I'd love to have them. I would love to have them, but unfortunately we can't go that route.
No.
License plates. Gail is in charge of the license plates here because she's the one that had to figure out how to duplicate them, because in the kit they don't give you any license plates. You have to pretty much whatever they make, or you have to use what they give you. But in this case, we had made a custom license plate for the car, and Gail was in charge of not only making the full size one that went on the car. She had to make a mini one.
I
So I'll
did.
hand it off to her with the license plates and
I did.
have at it, Gail. What was...
Well, it was tough. I did the front license plate first. I drew a grid and used a marker and a ruler, drew a grid of the
the
size
size of
box
the
that I
plates?
needed.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I went with a pencil and down the line I went, and I just kept practicing it over and over and over and over and over till I got it right. And I probably did it 50 or 60 times till I finally had it looking the way I wanted it to look. It was tough. It was tough. Fortunately, I can write very small, so that helped in doing it. But it wasn't being able to write small so much as it was getting the font correct, making it look the way the lettering was supposed to look. But
in miniature.
Yes, in miniature.
What, 12 millimeter by 7 millimeter size license plate? You had to go and...
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I did use a pair of magnifying glasses when I did that one. I didn't start out using it, but it did make it much easier to do, especially once I had the font down to where I wanted it.
Yes. Yeah. So let's go back to the rear one because
that one took me twice as many times to get right.
That license plate was on the car when I bought it, and it was the license plate that was registered to the car in 1978, which the only reason why it survived was because they were flathead screws that were bolted on so tight no one could take them off.
Right.
So we were very fortunate that no one swagged the plate off and hung it in their garage, that it stayed the registered license plate for the car at the time, because we think the original owner sold it to somebody and they got it inspected, and according to the sticker according to the inspection sticker, the car was only driven 152 miles and it was parked.
Right. Yeah.
So having that license plate in Pennsylvania will allow you to reuse a period correct license plate. All we had to do was fill out some MV forms and get it as a vanity tag, since no one used that period, those letters as a vanity tag.
Right.
But then we were able to register the car as an antique license plate and keep the registration and
which is super cool,
to match a sticker, which once we get through the license plate part of this, we'll go to that next. But so how about the rear one?
So the rear one, I did the same thing that I did for the front one. I drew a grid with many boxes and I just continually did it over and over and over and over. This one took me twice as many times to get it right. I probably did this 100 times, if not more. And the toughest thing about the whole project was actually the keystone in the middle. For whatever reason, I could not get my angles right. I don't know if it was because it was so tiny. I did use an eye loop for this one. And in the end, what I ended up doing was, on a separate piece of paper, I drew the keystone in a bigger form. And then I just kept drawing. Did the same thing inside the box till it got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I was able to practice doing it smaller. And then I was able to transfer that over to the actual license plate.
Yeah.
But that was the toughest of them all.
And you're using a 1 millimeter ink pen to make that work. You buy specifically just to do this.
I actually took the whole grid over to our local art store, and I explained to the woman behind the counter what I was doing and what I needed, because it was super important that I had a marker that didn't bleed, that didn't run. Because
you're using paper.
Right, because 9 times out of 10, most markers will expand a little bit on paper, and I couldn't have that happening. So I showed her what I was doing, and she said, I got the marker for you, and she sure did, because when I did the back license plate, even though it was black, the color of the paper is yellow. So when it was done and you looked at it, it appeared blue, which is really cool, because the actual license plate is yellow and blue.
Yeah, getting that license plate having that for the car to match the sticker, which is another cool thing.
Yeah.
We have the original inspection sticker from 78 and 79 is still on the windshield, and we can still see the writing on the back.
Yes.
We know the car was inspected in Westmoreland County in Pennsylvania, so it was right near Pittsburgh. So it pretty much, everything we could authenticate the oil stickers on the door jamb. And I mean, the car was legit. We know it wasn't sitting
Right.
at a car lot with someone
No.
messing with the odometer. We know we got a
Right.
legitimate 64,000 original mile car,
Correct.
and
Yes.
that was fun. But the sticker, well, we got to make an inspection sticker. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was an inspection mechanic, I saved the end pieces from the stickers, because when they cut them, before you peel them to put them on the windshield, there's a little strip along the side that stays. And I don't remember what year it was, but I saved blue ones for the Supra and red ones for the Supra, because we're going to do another one like this with the Supra,
Right.
where we're going to put a 2JZ model engine from a Mark IV to a Mark II. That's a whole nother day. Well, don't
Mm-hmm.
hold your breath. We don't know when that one's coming down the line. This one took a long time, but the inspection sticker was fun because it has a hologram already in the sticker itself. So by using a sliver of inspection sticker and practicing getting the 2, because that 2 was really tough to get right because it's a
Mm-hmm.
unique letter 2 on the sticker, I was able to use an original inspection sticker cut. And then when I had before I put the body on and mounted the tub into the model, I was able to literally stick it to the windshield.
Mm-hmm.
And we've
And
got
make it
a
authentic.
genuine PA sticker
Mm-hmm.
on the car
Right.
to match that. That
Which is
was,
really cool.
yeah, that
It's
was,
that little extra touch, those little extra touches that mean something.
yeah, that's what makes it authentic. You know, if
Right.
you look on the back of the trunk, I did all the trim work on the whole car
Mm-hmm.
by hand, except for what we're getting to next. But on the NASCAR model, we showed you that man, sanded all that
Yeah.
stuff off to make it a race car. And on this one, you can see that the trim, which was cool about the Super Stock, is it has all the trim on it. And the only thing that was deleted was the long middle section of the bird, or the jet, or whatever the hell that thing is that goes all the way back along the body of the car. This kit did not come with that piece of trim, and Farah is a 500 model car, so it has to have that really cool piece of reflective, like, machine trim
Mm-hmm.
that runs along that. And that was something I was not going to paint. There's no way I was going to be able to pull that off. I mean, painting the bird and all the trim required a whole lot of work,
Oh
because
yeah, totally.
I know, like, if you saw the NASCAR version of that one we just posted, that guy used all foil to do all the trim, and I wasn't going that way because
Right.
I've never tried it. I'm not really good at it, but I really like the metallic effect of using flat silver and thinning it so that you can,
Yeah, it came out beautifully.
yeah, I really went all out with the trim. I already had practiced on the other model, the Coronet model, or what
Right.
was that, the Belvedere model.
Belvedere.
I decided to paint the Belvedere with the paint from Farah that was left over. I had put it in a spray bomb so we could spray that exact paint that we
Right.
painted the car with, and so the paint is exactly matches, and the metallic that's in it, it was really, it was the perfect thing. It matches beautifully. I did the interior, I
Mm-hmm.
did the body, and while I was painting it, by practicing on the Belvedere, gave me a good idea how the paint was going to lay, because you can only really get away with maybe 2 coats before you start drowning out all the little emblems and all the little
Right.
letters. Those all have to be painted. The letters on the hood, the spear on the hood, the pieces on the trunk lid,
Right.
all the letters on the back trunk.
The whole 9
Oh
yards.
man, I'm telling you, um, I'm really good at the trim work because I've got the right brush and I'm patient. And plus, I had some practice because I hadn't built a model since probably 1988. That's
Yeah.
how long it was
Yeah,
since I
that's a
built a
long
model.
time.
I built quite a few models, which we can show you later on down the road. But on this particular model, even when I was painting it, I noticed on the roof and the trunk and the hood there was some faded spots, which were the natural patina of the car. As I was painting it, it ended up, for some reason, getting lucky, and all those imperfections ended up being on the roof and on the
Mm-hmm.
trunk. And it was so exciting because at first I was going to try to paint it enough to get rid of it. And then I'm realizing, well, this is kind of
No,
magical.
right.
It was meant to happen this way because
Totally.
the car in real life has got patina on the trunk from all the boxes of junk the guy threw,
Mm-hmm.
held on it for 10 years. And the roof had some spots we had to touch up, and the hood's covered with fossils from a box of oily parts. And
Right.
that's what people are into. That people
Mm-hmm.
love that shit, and we like it too. And that's why the car can't ever be restored, because if you restore it, it just loses
It
it
does.
loses
It loses part of its
soul
character.
is gone if you
Right.
do that. It's just maybe for somebody maybe in many moons from now, and someone wants to buy it from me and they can restore it. If not, keep running it the way it is. Because
Right.
so far we put about 5,000 miles on that car, and it's I think
Yeah.
it just turned 70,000, so, or 71,000, I think 70,000. So
Hmm.
we're racking the miles on it.
We are.
Um,
But
what
she's
is
fun to drive.
well, we were talking about the trim. So what I ended up doing is I got a roll of pinstriping, of car pinstriping, and I was able to find the correct width of it in metallic silver. And holy crap, Gail, I had to pinstripe the car. I used automotive pinstripe to pinstripe the body of the car. And the hardest part about that was the spears on the back quarter. There's like these, looks like these Ginzu knives that are the very end of it.
Could you turn the car a little bit for me?
Yeah. So I had to cut those out by freehand. How's that?
That's
I had
great.
to
Thank you.
freehand those pieces and then cut them again with a really sharp X-Acto knife to mirror the other side, because you got a left and a right. And then once those are in position, which took some time to get right, then you have to start the pinstriping from the back of the car and work your way to the front of the car,
Right.
to catch the bird in the right spot
Mhm.
and not mess it up. And I'm telling you, there was some stressful things to really
I
get the
don't doubt
details,
that at all.
but to be able to use automotive
Pinstriping.
pinstriping, yeah, was
Mhm.
just you couldn't ask for it to be more
No, it's
appropriate.
perfect.
It's metallic, and it's just
Yes.
it's actual car pinstriping. I even trimmed where the doors were and trimmed the edges where it meets the spear in the back. But that's
Oh yeah, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, that was like there was some things here that was really,
Oh
we were
yes.
like, oh man, well, just how far
Little
can we
extra
go?
touches.
Let's keep going far. Like, how far can we go? So then I decided once all the paintwork was done, I moved into the interior. Now there are some really cool things about the interior that we
Mhm.
got really good. I nailed it. I'm patting myself on the back.
And you should pat yourself
I'm
on the
gonna,
back.
I'm
It's
gonna,
fantastic.
because if you're building a model car of your own car, if you're gonna skirt on the details, well then are you really
Right.
throwing your all in here?
No.
What's the point even providing anything if you can't do that? So the steering wheel, of all the pieces in the kit, if you guys know, the steering wheel is without question the most fragile thing to handle, depending
Yes.
on, because it has those thin horn rings. So I mean, I had to change the X-Acto blade, excuse me, because I had to trim that so carefully so it wouldn't damage it or break it. And then that, if you know, the Polara model, the Polara model's got like a green steering wheel. Well, in the real car, in our car, the steering wheel is faded to like a pea green color.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years. It's made out of Bakelite, so the sun had changed the color to like a green. It's very bizarre, but very cool at the same time.
It is.
So I had to mix up some paints to try to find that pea green color to paint the steering wheel so that it looks exactly like in the car.
Right.
And, at first glance, when someone would look at this model, they would probably be wondering, well, why that was done. But unless you had the actual car.
Right, to compare it to.
So,
yeah.
We should start a club where if you go to a car show, you have to bring a model of your car, and then your car gets judged based on the details of the model versus
Right.
what you have in real life. We'd win.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I'm gonna say, bring game, folks, because we've seen people do it, and I've done it myself, but never like this.
Not
never
to
like
this scale.
this.
Right.
So what's also neat about the interior is the super stock comes with bucket seats, and it has the 500 back seat,
Right.
which it doesn't have the 440 stuff, which was really cool. I didn't have to buy seats to put in the model. They already came with buckets, and if you have a 500 model, you can use the super stock model and you get the seat. I even went so far as to did the little emblem that's in the back seat, Gail, the little 500 one that sits back there.
If you want to
might be able
stop it there, I'll
yeah, you
see
might
if
be
I
able
can
to
get
see
in
it.
on that.
Yeah, I actually I didn't. I actually took a little bit of silver and I put the little emblem in the 500 back seat, because the 500 does have an emblem there, and whereas the 440 and the base cars do not have that.
Yeah.
Can you get it? Can you see it?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. We got pictures for
to
that.
Get in there.
Yeah, we'll put some pictures on that.
Yeah, we will.
But what else? The console. All right, so this was the whole thing, and the console. I had to buy the 65 Belvedere just to get the console.
Right.
And the super stock comes with a tachometer, but it was one that you mounted on the dashboard or on the steering column, and I wasn't going to use that because it has a provision for a factory tach, which we ended up buying for the car. Those things are super expensive now. They're just insane, but I ended up I had to drill a hole in the tunnel of the car because the console mounts differently in the Polara than it does in the Belvedere. So I had to re-drill a hole because the console has a little pin under it to mount it. So in order to get the seats
Oh.
correct from the steering wheel and get the console situated there so it wasn't too far forward or too far back,
Right.
that was something a little touch that was something I had to do.
Totally.
I decided to freehand the tachometer in the console, which was, sticking it up on end in the Radico so that I could paint it. And then I decided to go for the little needle. So
Right.
I'm still trucking away. And then the console insert had to be painted flat silver because it's not bright polished in the car. So
Yeah.
that had to be done.
Right.
The little shifter.
Oh yeah, the shifter.
The shifter was tedious. I had to set the piece of plastic inlay for the console in the Radico a certain way so that the shifter would look like it was in park.
Right.
And then it has to be black and it has to have little silver dots in the side. I got that one.
Yes,
like
you did.
That was pretty good.
Yes.
I did not do like super detailing on the dashboard. I did the knobs, but I didn't get crazy with painting the speedometer. Like there was no way. It wasn't going to happen.
Right.
I did put the little red 500 emblem on the glove box, which you can't see in the model, but in the pictures you'll see it.
Yeah.
And then interior wise, we're reaching the point where now we have a speaker in the back. Now on the little mini Farah, we had to put that there, and that was just a little magic marker to make that in the little mini Farah. But on the 1/24 scale, I got lucky, just unbelievably. Gail had an old notebook, and the cover of it was like this perforated, thick, old material, and it was black, and it looked like a speaker cover. So what do? I decided to cut out 2 footballs that look like a speaker cover, and it actually has a real perforated speaker cover because the car did have that. I was assuming the reverb shit that was supposed to be in there, but I took all that stuff out because the radio never worked.
Right.
And maybe someday that'll get fixed. Maybe it won't, but
we have it at least.
We have it stuff if we need it, but I did not put it back in the car. Someday the radio work, but there's nothing on AM to listen to anyway. So when we're cruising around, we're listening to the engine, and that's the best part of it.
And waving to people.
Yeah.
that are waving to us.
Yeah. So the final, I think the final thing for all of this that really, really made the difference was I decided to use watchmaker loom to loom a watch dial. So if you guys ever held your watch up to the light and glowed your watch or your alarm clock on your nightstand at night back in the day, if y'all used those things like we grew up on mechanical clocks that ticked.
We did, yes.
We're from that era. And so I decided to try something completely different, and I mixed up some watch loom. I used blue because when you use blue, it glows white. And then as it cools, it turns blue. So where the headlights are, if you notice that the headlight lenses, there's a big bucket underneath of them, and I filled each one with watch loom. And then after that dried, I installed the headlights, which I'm fussy about that. You'll see in the pictures, like you got to get the lines of the headlight right, because if it's crooked or twisted, it looks janky. And I wasn't going janky here.
Wasn't happening.
I've always been difficult for me when I build models to get the headlights in. And usually if you use too much glue, they turn foggy and they look like crap. I use silicone rubber, like standard silicone rubber, because it doesn't affect the plastic, and it allows you to move it around and it doesn't damage anything as far as peeling the chrome off or fogging the light. Right. That was a big thing for me, because if the eyes are goofy, it's goofy. Right. And I've made a pride effort on all the models I built to really, I had to go back in my archives of model building and try to make that, that work. But while I was building the model, I decided I want the interior to glow. So what better way than to, when you put the glass in the roof of the model, there's this big open square. And I'm like, well, that would really glow the interior.
It would.
As you see it, it's really making a really cool effect. Mm-hmm. And on top of it, I think that was 3 grams. So I used an 8 balls worth of blue watch loom, and I just mixed it up with a big Rolex spoon, and I just make like as I was making a cake. I literally had it sitting in there, drying in the headliner of the car, so that it would glow at night as you're seeing, which creates a pretty neat effect.
It does.
And one final, chef's kiss was that I did the C-pillar lights in the car. I took some of the plastic window framing that was there when you cut the pieces out. I put those in my watch lathe, and I made 2 little cups, and I drilled a hole in those little cups,
Mm-hmm.
and I filled it with blue watch loom, so it looks like little snow cones in the picture, which you can
Yeah,
see,
it's just awesome.
because I knew those weren't going to be enough to light the interior up, but I still needed the effect of having the little lights in there.
Right.
And I glued those into the C-pillar of the roof before I mounted the tub, because once the tub goes in, you can't access that anymore.
Right.
So as you can see in the pictures with the glow, it
Mm-hmm.
looks pretty badass. I mean,
Oh yeah, totally.
it was, I don't know if anybody's ever done that before, but guys, steal my idea. Go buy yourself some watch loom and try it, because when it's
Mm-hmm.
sitting in your showcase at night and you walk past it, you can see it glowing at
Yeah,
you.
it's so cool.
It's pretty gnarly. And then Gail and I tried a whole bunch of different pictures here, as you're seeing, of the lights glowing in different, we took a
Right.
whole bunch of pictures. We tried to do that live to show you, but the problem is it's too dark and it doesn't create the same effect as the pictures.
Yeah.
Same as the back. I did the loom behind the lights, which didn't glow real good because the lenses are a little thick, but I was able to put some watch loom on the license plate, and you could still read it at nighttime,
Right.
which is just, you just got to keep going,
I
right?
know, it's just awesome.
Yeah. So after a year and a half and about 30 hours of work, and I hope you guys are impressed by what we did here.
Well,
It's
you deserve a pat on the back, Brian, because
Yeah.
it is
Well,
fantastic.
thank you, Gail.
It
I
is.
think it's the finest 64 Dodge Super Stock Johan back to stock model ever existed.
Yeah,
We
I
did
would
our
agree with you.
we did our homework. We watched all the videos we could find of the 64 Johan Super Stock model, and well, it ain't bragging if you can do it. I think
Right.
after you guys go and look at all those guys that built those model kits, I'm calling number one here.